So recently I decided to do daily video diaries. I'm going to try to do daily video diaries as often as possible. My name is Matt Painter. I'm 38 years old, soon to be 39. I have 4 children, 3 boys and a girl. Oldest is 14, then 12, then 9, and my daughter is 4. And I have a beautiful wife named Sarah. They put up with me quite a bit. And the reason I say that is at an early age, about 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Well, not Parkinson's, it was Parkinsonism, because some of my symptoms fit, some of them didn't fit the mold of Parkinson's disease. So I get the title of Parkinsonism. The difference between that is that they don't know how fast mine is going to progress, as much so as they would be able to predict for Parkinson's. I take the medication that Parkinson's patients take, and it works for me, luckily. I'm sure there's a lot of Parkinsonism patients that doesn't work for, and they're just stuck to deal with the symptoms, which would be horrible. It was about 5 years ago that I was diagnosed with this. Before that, I noticed tremors in my legs when I was in my early 20s. Went to the doctor in 2003, and they diagnosed me with essential tremors. So it wasn't a big deal. It was just something that was annoying more than anything. Doctor gave me beta blockers. It was propranolol. I took that every day, and it managed the symptoms really well for a while. Then I moved to Arizona. I don't doubt that has anything to do with the progression of it, but I moved to Arizona and got out there, and after a few years being out there, the medication stopped working. It wasn't working as well as it was when I first started taking it, and I noticed other symptoms coming out. I had a limp on one side, and I've had chronic back problems since I was 19. I had a pretty traumatic back injury when I was 19, so herniated my L4. So I'd had chronic back pain, and I thought that might be the cause of it. Went and saw several back specialists, and one of them actually referred me to a neurologist. And then that neurologist wasn't a movement disorder specialist, and they watched me. They met with me a couple times and really felt that I needed to see a movement disorder specialist. And that was in 2010. And then I went and saw a movement disorder specialist. Great doctor, Dr. Maria Cristina Ospina in Phoenix, Arizona. And she was a really great doctor, and she put me on the Parkinson's medication. And at that time, all they could do was give you the medication to take, and if it worked, then chances are you had Parkinson's or Parkinsonism. And it worked for me. And so about a year or two, close to 2 years after I got the clinical diagnosis, they gave me a DAT scan, which is a brain scan. They have to give you the radioactive dye, so you have to take the I don't even know what it's called, but it's those nasty drops that you have to take for a week before you get the IV, so that it doesn't kill your thyroid. And they did the DAT scan, and the results came back that my brain was producing 40% of the dopamine that a normal person's brain produces. So that tied in with my diagnosis, and that supported it. So at that point, it was solidified I had Parkinsonism. And the reason they said Parkinsonism instead of Parkinson's disease is because typically Parkinson's, you can't treat it with a beta blocker. It doesn't help any of the symptoms, any of the beginning symptoms, any of the early sign symptoms. It doesn't help. And so the reason it helped me, who knows? But I have things I strongly believe are the cause of it, but we'll get into that later on. So for the past 5 years, I've been taking the Parkinson medication, Sinemet, carbidopa, levodopa, and it helps with my symptoms for the most part. There's my on and off periods for the efficiency of the medication it's sporadic at times. Depends on my stress levels. With 4 young kids, you can imagine how much stress that presents. Bring into it life and bills and everything that life throws at you adds more stress. So I don't know. Hopefully the people that are watching this know what stress triggers in people with Parkinson's or Parkinsonism. It triggers episodes and symptoms because your brain can't produce the dopamine that your body needs to cope with that stress. So episodes can be anything from uncontrollable tremors, freezing, leg freezing, body freezing, to where you're walking or you're trying to walk and your legs want to move but they can't. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've almost fallen on my face because I couldn't get my legs to move. Literally, I couldn't, and it's the most frustrating thing, especially for someone who's been athletic my whole life. I love sports. I've played sports my whole life: baseball, basketball, soccer. I ran cross country in high school for 4 years. For someone who validates a lot of their value based on their ability to physically accomplish things and do well at it, it was a blow for me. It was a huge blow. I can still play the sports, but not at the level I used to be able to. I enjoy it. I enjoy the exercise that I do get. I have become a lot more. I've taken up golf a lot more. I golfed a lot when I was younger with my dad, and he taught me when I was really young. But I just kind of never really took it seriously until a few years ago. And despite my disease, I was actually able to get to single-digit handicap. And my lowest handicap was a 3.8. Well, my lowest was a 1.1, but that was because of a round that I shot that I just couldn't believe. I played a round in the morning, 18 holes, with a friend of mine and shot a 76. And I said, well, man, I left a lot of birdies out there. I said, I'd like to play another round. So I went out by myself and played everything down, played every stroke, played to every rule, and had 8 birdies and 1 bogey. And I shot a 65. And this was a year and a half ago. And so what I've noticed is that despite my disease, when I'm out on the golf course, focusing on one shot at a time, I don't have the worries and the stresses of life and what's going on. And so that's been a huge outlet for me. I was blessed enough to be able to golf for free for about a year and a half, 2 years. I was working at a golf course in my hometown after moving back from Arizona. And that was a huge blessing. Sierra Meadows Country Club in Oakhurst. A little plug there. Great group of guys. Anyways, so recently I've completely cut anything that I felt could aggravate my symptoms. I cut aspartame out of my diet, so I was drinking diet soda like it was water, essentially. I drank it every day from morning till night, and it was basically my fluids. When I started working an early shift in Arizona, I was really tired throughout the day, and this was before my symptoms got real bad. And I would drink several energy drinks like Rock Stars or Red Bulls, whatever I could get my hands on, whatever was on sale. And I drank 2 or 3 of those a day just to be able to stay awake, because the medication that I took made me somewhat drowsy too. So that was an addition to. So I've completely cut those things out of my diet. I haven't touched them in 2 months. For the most part, caffeine's gone. Every once in a while I'll have a regular Pepsi, or I drink yerba mate tea. So I don't know if that really counts, but for my chronic back pain for a while, I've taken Norco in the past, Vicodin, whatever. When I re-aggravated my injury, I would take that. Stopped taking that altogether for the pain, because I felt like it was, when I would take it and then go through the daily withdrawal, if I would take it once a day or twice a day, there's going to be some sort of withdrawal from that, and so it would trigger my symptoms, because my body's it's going through stress because of the symptoms of withdrawal. And so it was just hell. I mean, I would be having cold sweats, and my face would be hot, my feet would be cold, freezing, and I didn't, it was like constant panic attacks. So I stopped taking that, and that was recent, but I'm giving it time. I'd like to give it a few months to see how my body levels out after all that stuff's out of my diet. So I just take the Cinemet and Effexor. That's because when the dopamine drops, the serotonin levels can drop in conjunction with that, because they work together. So that's kind of to boost the serotonin levels as well. So recently I decided I'm gonna start working on my golf game again, and I want to document it. I want to document everything that I go through every day with this disease. And there's another reason for it, because I've come across research and studies, and I can't dismiss it. I can't fully give it full credit and say that's what is causing this disease, because there's no explanation for it. I don't have any hereditary markers. None of my family has it. No one in my family has any type of neurological problems. So I've come across a few research websites and different information that says that mercury poisoning can cause that, can cause Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, among other things, because it's a neurotoxin. Done a few years of research on it, and I have some amalgam fillings that contain 50% of the filling is mercury. And so that's another reason I want to document this, because the plan is to try and, because living paycheck to paycheck, it can be hard to see how you're going to come up with money to get the fillings removed, because it's quite expensive to have them properly removed and safely removed. And so that's the idea, is to not only bring awareness to my disease and show what you can accomplish with this disease, but also to kind of expose this poison that people are having put into their mouths. And and when I get them removed, if I'm documenting it and my symptoms improve or go away completely, then that's the evidence that I need to present a good valid point to people that need to get things changed in Washington or the ADA, whoever needs to approve it. They're not going to approve it now, because if they admit that they're not safe, then that opens up the door to so much litigation that the ADA would not exist anymore. And that's just common sense. I mean, they're admitting to poisoning people for hundreds of years, however, I don't know, at least 100 years. I know they've known about it for at least 20 years, that there's potential problems. So that's kind of the idea behind this. Hopefully, you guys like what I have to post. Thanks for your time. Bye.